has a whole ton of grants, and so I'm trying to present them in a stepwise manner that would make sense as if you were just beginning your toe in the water type thing for doing research. And this is collaborative research, so we need two partners. We have the academic researcher who applies for the funding, and we have the supporting organization who is the industry partner, a for-profit Canadian company. These grants are meant to help the business develop their product, their process further ahead using academic expertise. So it's not meant to be a tech push from the university, it's meant to be a tech pull from the company. So this is meant to be a short-term project, 6 months in length. It's worth up to $25,000 to the researcher to pay their team to buy some equipment, materials, and at the end of the 6 months, any IP that's developed during the project is owned by the company at the end of it. So the nice thing with this is that there's no cash required of the industry partner at this time. There's no IP agreement required at this time because it's understood that they'll own anything developed during the project. So it minimizes the risk on two fronts, and it also allows for a very quick turnaround time. We evaluate these internally rather than sending them out for peer review. So we use the track record of the academic and their grant history to sort of fast track them for eligibility. We look at the company and we look at the project. These have a turnaround time of about 4 to 6 weeks for a decision. The success rates are about anywhere from 86 to 88%. So it's a very successful program. It's also non-competitive. If you meet the eligibility criteria, we will fund the project. Now, that's if you have a research project. Our friends at the NRC IRAP, they've asked us to speak about their BAP program as well, because we're doing a little partnership with them. So if you're a company and you have a project that isn't quite straight out research, it would be more what you'd call contract research. You want them to do the CSI thing, put some samples in the magic machine, spit out the answer at the end of the day. Less risk, it's more routine. You could get funding from IRAP to partner with the university or college to do a BAP project. Again, they're short-term in length. IRAP also funds market research type projects as well too through this fund. Again, always with IRAP, they do it through their industry technology advisors, their ITAs. They're everywhere across Canada. So if you're a company, you just reach out to your local ITA and they can steer you through this one. So Engage is for university researchers. The applied R&D, which is shortly becoming rebranded as Engage for colleges, because everybody likes just using a one word for the grant. Engage for colleges is, again, a 6-month project, but it's a little different. You don't have a professor apply for the grant like you do at the university. In fact, you have the college apply. So let's say you want to work with Niagara College, you want to work with Conestoga. They're going to put in the application on behalf of the institution. So if you're looking at doing a new collaboration, it means you can't have ever worked with Niagara College before, Conestoga College, George Brown, etc. It's meant to be a brand new partnership, sort of a blind first date. With the colleges, they do like to have an IP agreement in place, but I've found with most of the colleges, they turn around and assign the IP back to the company. So it's very similar to the Engage for universities that way as well. Again, very high success rate, quick turnaround time. So they're very complementary, those two. And then turning to our provincial folks, the Ontario Centres of Excellence, we've actually partnered, NSERC has partnered, IRAP has partnered, and Connect Canada has also partnered, all with OCE, to do a whole of government approach. So if you go through the OCE's research portal, you can access their funding, and you can also indicate that you'd like joint funding on your project from NSERC, from IRAP, from Connect Canada. It's done through their Voucher for Innovation and Productivity, or VIP1. You can access both Engage funding for universities or funding for colleges through the ARD program. And the nice thing is it is basically meant to be a one-stop shop. You go in, you complete all of the OC requirements, then if you are interested in, say, NSERC's funding for Engage, which is what I'm a program officer for, you tick the box and you get some additional drop-downs for, information that NSERC's looking for. OC tends to look for what the business is going to do with the project. How are they going to commercialize it? How are they going to get to market? NSERC is, again, very concerned with the research. What are you doing that's novel and interesting, and how are you furthering the technology? So long as you can sort of meet both master's requirements, it's definitely a good way to maximize your leveraging. So that just gives you a little quick schematic of what sort of a basic VIP1 engage can look like. So you'll get $25,000 from us. You would get up to $20,000 from OCE. Talent Edge, which is partnered with Connect Canada, it's the internship money. So basically, if you get a grad student to come and work on the project part-time, you get some money to spend on their salary. The company has to kick in a $5,000 minimum cash, and that brings your project up to the researcher, and then the company can get the additional $20,000 that's payable to them from IRAP. So let's say you do the Engage project, it went well. We've put together a bridge funding, what we'd like to say. So with Engage, the company didn't have to put any money in. Now we're looking for a little skin in the game, and the partner has to put in cash. With this leveraging, it's a one-to-one match. So if you want a $25,000 project, you've got to put in at least $12,500, provided the university's not taking any overhead off. A lot of universities have actually waived the overhead for Engage Plus because it is a short project again. Same rules apply. Company still owns the IP. They're still evaluated really quickly, high success rates. So essentially you can do Engage about halfway through your project. If it's going well, you're getting some interesting new results, you want to continue the collaboration, you can apply for the Engage Plus funding, and that buys you another 6 months. A lot of folks do this if they're thinking they want to go long-term with the collaborative R&D grant, which I'll speak about in a second. And that's a longer-term project. It also goes out for peer review, unlike these. So you can keep all your staff employed, your students working on things, while you put in for the collaborative R&D grant, which is this one. So this is a very scalable grant. The matching's better, it's 2-to-1. So you can think if the company's willing to put in $10K cash, $10K in kind, they can leverage up to $20,000 from NSERC. So the matching is better for the CRDs, but it does go out for peer review, so that can delay it, I'd say 2 months minimally if the profs are fast and they actually read the grants and provide their comments, up to about 3 months. There's no upper limit, I've been told. It's what the company is willing to put into the grant, that the ask amount can go to NSERC. So if the company is willing to put in $500,000, I've been told that we will match it. So it's up to the company if they're willing to do that. The other thing is this can allow multiple partners. You can have multiple university professors, you can have multiple institutions, so you could have U of T, you could have UBC, you could have Dalhousie all working on the grant. You can have multiple companies from across Canada as well. They do allow some international partners, but you do need the main industry lead to be Canadian, and you need to show the benefit to Canada. These grants are also scalable in length. They can range from anywhere from 1 to 5 years as well. So quite a sizable project. NSERC has a whole ton of grants, and so I'm trying to present them in a stepwise manner that would make sense as if you were just beginning your, toe in the water type. The one component they look for here from an evaluator's point of view is also training of students, the highly qualified personnel. So they want to see masters, PhDs, postdocs involved in these projects because they want to see a training component for that as well. A lot of the companies actually hire these students afterwards too, because suddenly now they've had them trained on their project and their technology, they're all set to go. And this is the mirror image of the CRD, but for colleges. We're not very original with our titles, ARD levels 1 and 2. The levels 1 and 2 just depend where this, level 2 is up to $75,000, level 3 is 75 and above. Again, very high success rates with all our collaborative grants, over 85% for the CRDs and the ARDs. We find when companies are willing to put money into the grants, they look at the proposal really closely. They want to see what their money's going towards. So we find this raises the quality very high. The nice thing with the partnership grants is, again, they're not competitive. They're merit-based. So if you meet the criteria, you'll get the funding as well. And mentioning that HQP, we also have funding directly to train students. So if your company already works with co-op students, this is a great way to hire more co-op students and have NSERC subsidize their salaries. So they are treated like employees of the company. You hire a bunch of undergrads. Maple Leaf Foods, for us, they take 15 students per location. So it doesn't matter if it's dairy, if it's bread, if it's meat, they maximize their 15 for the year at each location across Canada. And I've met the students and they've all been hired afterwards. So it's great for them because they get the exposure, they get employment. Maple Leaf gets a whole bunch of sort of fresh faces that get trained on part of NSERC's dollar. It's definitely a win-win that way. And for graduate students, if they're working on a thesis project that's of interest to the company, again, we can pay a significant portion of their salary, and they work part-time at the company throughout their graduate work as well.